I'ma just flip-flops on, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings boy to life. Be with a fuse you light, you're good dynamite. You made my day when you walked into town beside me, whispered with your eyes, let's go. You made me say what's your name, girl, you know.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this August the 16th, 2023. Today's show was brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase at SeatGeek. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to BellyUpSports.com for great sports articles right across the whole landscape of sports, including car racing, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever it is under the sun. It's there at BellyUpSports.com, and a lot of other great podcasts, as well as the one of my favorites. I watched it last night for the first time live in a few weeks. The Crap Brewed Sports podcast. A lot of laughs on that show, as always, last night. Anyways, thank you for making us a part of your day each and every day here at 14:20 in the morning, and listening to other podcasts as well. Anyways, we normally don't get too deep in subjects here at 1420 World Headquarters. You can get you in a lot of trouble in a lot of situations, a lot of voices out there, but this is one that I don't think that anybody can really argue with. I know that there is still a situation there that has to come across in the Wander Franco debate. Not a debate, with the situation is happening there with Wander Franco and the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll get to what's going on there in half a second, but I don't think you can argue against sexual exploitation or abuse of children, but we'll get to that in half a second. We normally don't get to this kind of a talk because it can get you a lot of trouble with it, one side and the other and everything else. But I don't think that this can be a one side or the other conversation when it comes to child exploitation. But anyways, it's a good thing that it gets talked about more and more, because I think that people automatically assume, because it's talked about more and more, that there's more and more of this happening. What I think it is, there's just more and more people talking about it, so more and more people are getting caught. And I don't think it's more prevalent than it was 20 years ago. I don't think it's more prevalent than it was 30 years ago. I think that the situation is you have more and more people who aren't scared to talk out about it, to go to the authorities and to say, hey, something's going wrong here. I think somebody's guilty of doing something. Can you please investigate this? I think you have a situation where, like with the Wander Franco situation, we'll talk about that right now, is that he was, for those of you who don't know and those who don't follow the Tampa Bay Rays, and lots of people don't, and all of a sudden the Tampa Bay Rays are in the news for all the wrong reasons. But anyways, on Sunday prior to the game versus Cleveland, Wander Franco posted an Instagram video basically exonerating himself, saying that he wasn't guilty of the things that was posted the day before on a deep dive Instagram thing that you really had to find to get a hold of. But anyways, before the game, he posted something, and then he was quickly, before the game was started, he was a healthy scratch and a rest day that came out of nowhere after playing 40 or 50 games in a row, and on 40 games in a row. I think he was on a 7-game hitting streak. So it seemed odd that he would get a healthy scratch that day and a rest day, which turned out to actually also be Wander Franco hat giveaway day, which was it's an odd situation. The Wander Franco hat giveaway was for children 14 and under to get a free hat, when the allegations came out about him that he was having a sexual relationship, and the videos came up that he was with a 14-year-old girl, and on it went, and he said he didn't do it, and on it went. But anyways, he was quickly removed from the Tampa Bay lineup that day, and then he disappeared in the 5th inning from the dugout, and then he was quickly shooed away and didn't have a post-game presser, post-game anything. He was gone, not seen, not heard, and was quickly placed under Major League Baseball suspension the next day, and he didn't make the road trip to San Francisco. Kevin Cash came out and said we take these allegations, and the Tampa Bay organization said we take these allegations very seriously, and it's something that we don't take lightly. So that he's been removed until further investigation by themselves and by Major League Baseball, who's done this. He seems to be going over this kind of situation. There was a guy in Cleveland, I know Pittsburgh, a couple of years back, who got 2 to 4 years in jail for his situation with a minor. He said he didn't know it was a minor, but it turned out it was, and on it went. So he's in jail, and he lost his Major League career over that kind of stuff. So now Wander Franco is on the outside looking in, and nobody knows really what might happen. And then since that's happened, Franco has been under investigation in his home of the Dominican Republic for another situation with another underage girl. That is not a good sign, not a good thing. And will there be more coming out? Who knows? It's all speculation at this point. And then if you remember, like when things come out of the Dominican Republic, you don't know what to take as yes, no, maybe so. Because if you remember a few years back, the David Ortiz situation, that kind of got swept under the rug when he got shot, and it wasn't really heard about, talked about, see you later, and that was done. So what comes out of Dominican might not always be the most reliable news sources, but there is another investigation about the Wander Franco investigation. On it goes. He has until the 21st, where the Major League Baseball and the Tampa Bay Rays have to come up with a situation, because he's under just a administrative leave, I guess it could be called. And then if they don't come up to a situation, he can come back and play and live up to his $181 million contract, and on and on. It could be upwards of 220 when it's all said and done. But then the thing is, if they don't, or if they do find something and there's more investigation to be had, he will be put on pretty much a permanent leave and be away from the team for a long time. And on the baseball side of things, if he's away for quite some time, this could hurt their playoff chances, because they haven't been as good as they were to start the season. But this one is bigger than baseball, and it shouldn't be taken lightly, I don't think, when it comes to children and the like. It's one of those things that you can't laugh at. And the thing is about these situations, you don't know how true they are until it's the investigation are happening, because in the report that they had on on Friday or on Saturday, when that video came out, and then Franco could come out and said, I didn't do it. And you can see one of his teammates behind him talking in Spanish, that people will do anything for money, and on it can go. But these allegations need to be taken very seriously. And if what Franco said and what his teammates said, that there are people out there exploiting minors to get money and for their own personal financial gain, that's a pretty rotten thing to do, because kids shouldn't use, if they're under 18, or even if they're 18, they're still not very smart. I know when I was 18, I wasn't very bright, and I was doing some pretty stupid things. But the thing is, if there's people using financial gain, or kids for financial gain, and to blackmail athletes, that's a pretty dirty thing to do, and it's a pretty dirty pool. So we need to really, I wouldn't say cool our jets with these allegations, but until it gets proven in a court of law or whatever it is, we have to maybe cool our jets a little bit and say, okay, let the investigations figure itself out. But a lot of time, when there's smoke, there's fire. And like I said, with the second allegation coming up, and then there's other things that are happening. If you want to get in depth and read these things, it's not a good look for Wander Franco, or for, I think, the Tampa Bay Rays. And I don't want to put too much heat on Tampa Bay, but I'm going to put a little bit of heat on these guys for the simple situation that when you sign a guy to a $200 million contract, or $181 million contract, or whatever it might be, when it's all said and done, with player options and team options, it might be $220 million. I think that you'd probably do a little bit of investigating on a person's character and a person's what they do on a daily basis, especially when they become the face of your franchise, and he's on billboards everywhere, and they have the hat giveaway, like I just said, and that's bad timing for that, obviously. And that's why you got was this report put out there, was this allegation put out there on purpose, being Wander Franco a hat day for children 14 and unders? It's just too much of a, I don't want to say coincidence, but maybe it's one of those things. That's just how karma works sometimes. But you got to think that when you have a player with Wander Franco and a team that doesn't have a lot of high-profile guys, and the Tampa Bay Rays don't spend a bunch of money, you think that they would have their eyes on this guy 24/7 as the face of the franchise, and saying, hey, mate, we better make sure this guy's nose is clean at all times. He's not doing dumb things, because he's 22 years old and that's what happens with a lot of times. When you give these guys that kind of money, they end up doing dumb things and not knowing any better. I don't know the guy. I don't follow him. I don't know much much about the Tampa Bay Rays other than they have a really good record. But when you hear these situations about child exploitation and child sexual abuse against children and sexual situations with children, it gets you thinking a little bit, and it makes you really sick to your stomach, because I don't think that there's a person on God's green earth that is sane in the head that would say that anything against the kids is a good thing. And you don't want to get political about it, because a kid's a kid, no matter what side of the fence they're on, or what side of the fence their parents are on, liberal, Democrat, Republican, conservative, whatever you want to talk about. I don't think anybody can say that abuse of children is a good thing. And so for people to make this political, I don't want it to get political at all, because I don't think it should be. It's a kid that innocence is lost forever. And let's get off the Wander Franco situation, talk about sports that it happens in. It happens in all facets of life. Let's not say this is a sports problem, because it's not. It's a sport. It's an issue with politicians. It's an issue with sports coaches. It's an issue with teachers. It's an issue with all across every gamut of life. So let's not say it's just politicians. Let's not say that it's athletes. Let's not say that it's just coaches. It's the thing across all facets of life. And like I said earlier, because it's reported a lot more, we're finding a lot more of these creeps, and a lot more of these creeps are being taken off the street, and the children of the world are a lot safer. Is it 100% safe? No, but you hear about a lot of child trafficking things. And let's not get political at all, but you hear about a lot of this stuff happening, and a lot of these creeps are being taken off the street. And now that there is things to become a coach in sports, now you got to get your criminal record checked. I'm sure it's coming to the umpire world as I'm in. The criminal record checks are happening, and there's ways to get that they're trying to get away from this. Not like it was 40 years ago. If you want to sit behind the bench at any time, you just volunteer your services, and you're coaching a youth sports team, right? The days of the Gray and James and here in Canada in that situation, I hopefully are way behind us, and all that stuff. But it still happens. But like I said, it's a lot better than it was, and more of these creeps being taken off the street. And I don't think we can deny that that's a good thing. And anybody who wants to make it political and say it's this side or that side, just look at yourself in the mirror and look at your own party before you start pushing the political envelope. It's about kids. It's about keeping them safe, and that should be priority number one, no matter what. Because you think about, not only would that kid be messed up for a long time or for life or whatever, but the family, to the guilt that they would have on themselves for not protecting their child, and then the community and everything else, and teammates and stuff, and how it affects everybody throughout all facets of life. So I think it's very important, as if you see something that's not right, to make sure you report it. If you see a kid acting a little bit odd towards a coach or towards a teammate or towards somebody, you have to talk to somebody. It can't get left unreported. And hopefully this Wander Franco thing, he's got to go through the proper jurisdictions and the proper the courts and everything else to see what really happened. But I think that it's a positive step in the right direction all the time when this stuff happens. I'm not saying the guy's guilty. I'm just saying it sheds light on the situation, that it happens on a daily basis, and it could be your neighbor doing it. It could be your best friend doing it. So it's very important that no matter who it is and what level of authority or what level of stardom or what level of celebrity that each of these people has that is doing this to kids, that it has to get reported no matter what. And it's not a me versus the world thing, and it's not a me stomping, but I think I have a platform every once in a while. You got to get a little bit serious here and talk about things that matter. And when these things come up, it's got to get reported and not just pushed away. Like here in Canada, like in southern Alberta where I am, the Wander Franco thing isn't talked about. It's not front page news. It's not on the news in the morning. It's not on Sports Center here on TSN very much. It might have been, but it's not out there. So 100%. So anytime we can talk about this, if this reaches 50 years or 100 years or 200 years or whatever it might get to today, it's very important that we keep talking about this. We need to be they got to go through due diligence prior to nailing them to the cross. But if these creeps are guilty of the charges that they have against them, they need to be taken off the streets and they need to be shown the door. And I think it's that simple. It's a kid. It could be your kid. It could be your niece or your nephew or whatever it might be. It wouldn't be a good thing for the families that it happens to, the embarrassment that it would cause for the perpetrator's family and the like. So the damage that that child abuse and child exploitation, it goes, it's deeper than sports. It's deeper than politics. It's deeper than everything. So it's very important that we put that kind of stuff behind us when we talk about this stuff. And like I said, maybe this Wander Franco thing, there is a bright side to it, not a glowing orb of like not the entire sun, I guess is what way I'm trying to put it. But it's very important that when these things come out, that we talk about it, and you let kids know that, you know what, it's okay to say something if something's not going right. It's not okay for these multimillionaires to do whatever they want. It's not okay for this to get swept under the rug because this guy does play a shortstop like nobody's business. It's not okay for corporations to hide this kind of stuff. It's not okay for teams to hide this kind of stuff. It's not okay for political parties to hide this kind of stuff. It's all kinds of things that are bigger than all of this. And at the end of the day, it's our job to protect these kids, these young adults, and to let them flourish and become something. Because like I said, the damage that can be done to these children because of some animal, whether it be a male or a female, because it happens on both sides of the ledger, for these animals to take advantage of kids and exploit these kids, it's a bad thing. And if Wander Franco is innocent, shame on this guy for trying to get money out of this guy and blackmailing him. But if he is guilty, he should be persecuted to the furthest extent of the law. It's one of those things that it makes me sick, and thinking that it could have been my niece or my nephew or a neighbor's kid or a friend of mine's kid that could have happened to. And so this has to be stopped, and it has to end now. And the best way to do it is to make sure we keep talking about it, and we keep it on the forefront of what's happening in the world of sports and in the world in general, and make sure that these creeps don't infiltrate the world even more. Like I said, to top this topic off, I don't think it's a new thing. I don't think that because it's publicized more that it's more prevalent in the world. I think it was always been around. There's always been creepazoids out there. There's always been animals out there that have been doing this, and it's just much more publicized, talked about, and more guys are getting caught. So that's a good thing, and that's one of those things. So just make sure if you see something, you report it. And usually, you say this my old life in the construction world: if something doesn't look right, it probably isn't. So if you see something doesn't look right, talk to somebody about it. Grab the kid, pull him aside, and talk to him, because kids can be brutally honest when it comes to this kind of stuff. And a lot of times they don't want to say something maybe to their own parents, but they want to be heard, and they don't want it to happen, obviously. So we have to make sure that we're watching not just watching the game, instead of yelling at the umpires or referees, make sure we're watching how kids' actions are and how they feel. Like the situation down in Tampa, who knows what it's going to turn out. Was the girl pressing herself on him? I doubt it. Like, when you're young and dumb and everything else, the guy's got millions of dollars, which makes me even sicker that this guy's got this kind of money. He's flashing around that age group of kids. It's kind of gross, and it's got to be looked at a black eye a little bit on the Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Rays a little bit, because everybody has access to everybody's Instagram accounts. You can't tell me that these multi-million-dollar corporations, even though the Tampa Bay Rays claim to not have any money and be one of the poorer sisters, which they are in baseball, they probably have a group of people who look after this stuff, and they should be maybe, before it gets out there. I'm glad it did get out there, but they should have a group of investigators at all times looking after this stuff and making sure that if there is somebody doing this in their organization, these people are persecuted to the furthest extent of the law. So it's very important that we talk about it. It's very important that we get it out there, and that if there is child abuse happening, if there is sexual exploitation towards kids, no matter who you are, politician, doctor, nurse, teacher, coach, umpire, whatever it might be, to make sure that kids have the proper protection in place. Because we're their last line of defense. We're supposed to be the ones who are defending them 100% of the time. Anyways, there's my most serious talk on the 14:20 in the morning, I think, ever. Dave and I, once in a while, we get a little bit serious, but not too much. But there's my rant of the day. Anyways, let's have a little talk from our friends at SeatGeek.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter, so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Anyways, we'll get to Brent's best bets for the day. We'll get you guys out of here on this glorious sunny day. I'm driving Mom up to Calgary to go to the airport. She's going up to Vancouver Island to visit my brother and sister, so got to get up there. There's a plane delay already and stuff, and she's all panicky, but it's one of those things that happens. But anyways, Brent's Best Bet brought to you by Bodog. Make a play today at Bodog. Tonight in the Major Leagues of Baseball, Justin Verlander and the Houston Astros win their second straight game in Miami versus the Marlins. Take the Astros to win tonight. Then I've got the Cleveland Guardians trying to get back to 500, getting the season kind of back on track. They haven't had a good year at all. Take the Guardians beating the Reds tonight in Cincinnati. Noah Syndergaard is going to channel his inner Thor for one last time, maybe out-dueling Andrew Abbott. And to close it out, I got Aaron Nola out-dueling Kevin Gausman tonight in Toronto, and the Phillies get back their winning ways versus the Blue Jays in Toronto at the Sky Dome at the Rogers Center. Anyways, that's Houston, Cleveland, and Philadelphia. Make a play at Bodog and put down $20 and get yourself $189.58 tonight at Bodog. Make a play by clicking on our personalized link and getting a $400 sign-up bonus. Just make sure you do that. Get a $400 and make a few wagers. But if you're going to play, make sure you play responsibly. Make a play today at Bodog. There it is. Brent's Best Bets brought to you by Bodog. It's up there all the time. Anyways, a little bit deeper subject than we usually have here, but make sure you guys spread the word. Like, it's just one of those things that needs to be talked about. We can't pretend this isn't happening right across the sports world, right across the world. And I don't want to start rambling about it again, but we got to make sure we protect kids because they're our future, and they're gonna help us out when we need it. So make sure we get this good word out and spread the good word out there. Anyways, 14:20 in the morning. Thank you very much for listening each and every day. And we're check everything on bellyupsports.com. And that's all I got for today. Dave and I'll be back tomorrow night, I think it is. Then we got our third anniversary special happening on Sunday afternoon around 2 o'clock. I think we have a live show. That should be a lot of fun, bringing some old guests back and everything else. So that should be good. Lastly, check out our merchandise page. It'll be up on the show's notes and everything else for those listening later on today on the podcast forum. But anyways, have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow. And remember, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with the sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.